The India-Pakistan conflict is one of the most complex and enduring geopolitical rivalries of our time, which now entered a new round of escalation. But today I'm not here to talk about wars, borders or politics, at least not directly. Instead, I want to explore something way more positive: the cultural connections that persist between India and Pakistan despite decades of hostility. From shared languages to Bollywood's reach, from cricket to poetry of Sufi saints, these threads remind us that beneath the conflict lies a shared heritage. So, how do these cultural ties survive, and what do they mean for the two nations which are so often at odds? Let's find out. To understand these cultural connections, we need to start with history. In 1947, the British colonial empire withdrew from the Indian subcontinent, leaving behind two new nations, India and Pakistan. The partition, driven by the religious and political demands, carved out Pakistan as a homeland for Muslims, while India emerged as a secular state with a Hindu majority. This division was anything but clean. It displaced over 15 million people and led to violence that claimed up to 1 million lives. Families were torn apart, and communities that had coexisted for centuries were suddenly on the opposite sides of the border. Yet the cultures of these two new nations didn't simply reset, they carried forward centuries of shared traditions, languages and ways of life. So the partition failed to erase the deep cultural roots that India and Pakistan share. And let's start with one of the most obvious connections, which is the language. Hindi and Urdu are the national languages of India and Pakistan respectively, and they are linguistic siblings. Both of them evolved from Hindustani, a language spoken across northern India for centuries. They share a common vocabulary and grammar, with differences primarily in the script. So Hindi uses Devanagari and Urdu uses Perso-Arabic, and also in some formal vocabulary where Urdu leans on Persian and Arabic and Hindi on Sanskrit. If you've ever heard a conversation in Hindi and Urdu side by side, you'd notice that they're often mutually intelligible. This linguistic bond means that a shopkeeper in Lahore and a teacher in Delhi could, in theory, chat about the weather or haggle over prices without that much trouble. But it's not just Hindi and Urdu. Across the border, millions speak Punjabi, Sindhi, Bengali and other regional languages that don't just stop at the border. In Punjab, for instance, the folk songs of Faris Shah or the Bhangra dance, which is performed at weddings, are nearly identical whether you are in Amritsar, which is in India, or Lahore, which is in Pakistan. These shared languages carry stories, jokes and proverbs that resonate on both sides, creating a cultural bridge that politics still struggle to break. Then, another profound connection lies in spirituality and music, particularly through Sufism. Sufi saints like Bulleh Shah, Amir Khusrau and Nizamuddin Auliya have long been revered across the subcontinent, their poetry blending devotion with universal good themes of love and humanity transcends religious and national boundaries. In Pakistan, Qawwali performances at shrines like Data Darbar in Lahore draws thousands, while in India, the same melodies play at Delhi's Hazrat Nizamuddin Dargah. The lyrics often speak of unity with the divine, a message that resonates both with Muslims and Hindus and Sikhs and others alike. These shared spiritual traditions remind us that devotion doesn't check passports. And of course, there's another connection which is quite impossible to ignore, and that is Bollywood. India's film industry is a cultural juggernaut, and its reach extends far beyond India's borders. In Pakistan, Bollywood movies have historically been wildly popular despite periodic bans driven by political tensions. Before the 2016 ban on Indian films in Pakistan following the Uri attack, Pakistani cinemas regularly screened Bollywood hits like Bairangi Baijan, for example. Even during bans, pirated DVDs and online streaming kept Bollywood alive in Pakistani homes. And why this love for Indian cinema, you may ask? Well, the themes of family, love and sacrifice, they resonate universally, and the music, which often blended classical ragas with modern beats, feels familiar to Pakistani audiences as well, which are raised on similar sounds. And interestingly, the traffic isn't entirely one way. Pakistani actors like Fawad Khan and Mahira Khan have starred in Bollywood films, winning fans in India. Pakistani musicians like Atif Aslam and Rahat Fateh Ali Khan have contributed iconic songs to Indian soundtracks. These collaborations show how art can slip through political barriers, creating moments of shared joy. However, the bans and restrictions also highlight the fragility of these ties. Cultural exchanges often become collateral damage in diplomatic spats. And if there is one single thing that brings India and Pakistan together like nothing else, it's cricket. When these two teams face off, the world stops for millions of fans. An India-Pakistan match isn't just a game, it's a cultural phenomenon. The rivalry is fierce, but it's also a shared passion. Fans on both sides analyze the same players, debate the same strategies, and celebrate the same sport. In 2004, when India toured Pakistan for a historic cricket series, the warmth of Pakistani hospitality towards Indian players and fans made headlines. Cricket diplomacy has even been used to ease tensions, like during the 1987 tour when leaders Zia-ul-Haq and Rajiv Gandhi met at a match. While cricket can't solve the conflict, of course, it creates moments where rivalry feels more like camaraderie. And of course, there's another element that binds people at the most fundamental level, and that is food. Indian and Pakistani cuisines share a rich heritage which is rooted in Mughal, Persian, and regional traditions. Take biryani, for example, which is a spiced rice dish that sparks friendly debate about whether Karachi's version beats Hyderabad's version. Or nihari, which is a slow-cooked meat stew which is savored in Lahore and Lucknow alike. The spices, the techniques, even the way meals are shared with family, these are nearly identical across the border. Food festivals in both countries often feature each other's dishes, and social media is full of Indian and Pakistani foodies exchanging recipes. This culinary connection is a reminder that the table is a place where differences often melt away. Beyond these organic connections, there are deliberate efforts to nurture cultural ties. Initiatives like the Aman Ki Asha campaign, which was launched in 2010 by Indian and Pakistani media houses, have promoted peace through art, music, and citizen exchanges. Theatre groups from both countries have performed together, and writers have collaborated on anthologies exploring shared histories. The Wagah border, which is a symbol of division, hosts a daily flag-lowering ceremony that draws tourists from both sides, who cheer not just for their country, but for the spectacle of connection. These efforts face challenges like visa restrictions, political backlash, but they show a persistent desire to humanize the other. The cultural connections between India and Pakistan don't just exist within their borders. In the global diaspora, whether in London, Toronto or Dubai, Indians and Pakistanis often live side by side, celebrating Diwali and Eid together, attending the same mosques or temples and running businesses that blend their cuisines. These communities show how cultural ties can thrive when political tensions are less immediate. But of course, even here, the conflict can cast a shadow, with some diaspora groups mirroring the divisions back home. But still, a lot of the time, diaspora proves that shared culture can still be a foundation for coexistence. So what do these cultural connections mean in the context of a conflict that has lasted for over 7 decades? Well, they're not a solution to the political or territorial disputes. Kashmir cross-border tensions and all the historical grievances remain deeply complex. But they remind us of a shared humanity. The poetry of Faiz Ahmed Faiz, sung in both nations, speaks of hope amid struggle, and the cheers of cricket fans echo a common dream of victory. And the aroma of biryani simmering in a kitchen carries the weight of centuries of shared history. These connections don't erase the pain of partition or the ongoing strife, but they offer a glimpse of what could be. A future where India and Pakistan see each other not just as rivals, but as neighbors with a common soul. You see, the India-Pakistan conflict is often framed through the lens of division. But today, hopefully, you got a glimpse of another side too, which is the enduring cultural ties that bind these nations. From language to music, from food to cricket, these connections are a testament to a shared past and perhaps, one day, a hopeful future. God knows, with all the wars and the hate and division that we see across the globe, we could use a little bit of that. And what do you think? Can culture pave the way for peace, or is it just a fleeting escape from the conflict? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this video to be useful or thought-provoking, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, stay curious, stay critical, and I'll see you on the next one.